They thought they knew who she was. A black woman standing quietly in the courtroom, drawing whispers and laughter from those who saw her as nothing more than an outsider. The bailiff smirked. The officers exchanged looks, and even some in the gallery chuckled under their breath. But what they didn't know was that the woman they mocked wasn't there to observe. She was there to lead. And in moments the laughter would die, replaced by a silence that shook the entire room. The courthouse buzzed that morning, a place where power often spoke louder than justice. Lawyers shuffled papers, officers leaned casually against the walls, and the gallery filled with people waiting for their cases to be called. It was a world where appearances mattered, where judgments were made long before anyone ever spoke a word. Amid the noise, Maya Johnson walked in. A black woman in her early 40s, she carried herself with quiet dignity, dressed in a simple but elegant black dress with a pearl brooch at the collar. Her natural curls framed her face, and her eyes held a calm strength, the kind that comes from years of fighting battles most people never see. But to the onlookers, she was invisible, or worse, underestimated. Whispers started as soon as she sat near the front. Some assumed she was a defendant, others thought she was someone's relative, and a few officers chuckled as they exchanged dismissive glances. To them, she didn't look like someone who belonged in authority. What no one knew was that Maya had spent decades studying, working, and rising through a system stacked against her. She had faced rejection after rejection, doors slammed shut, and endless doubt from those who believed her skin defined her limits, yet she never stopped pushing. And today was not just another day in court. Today was the day she would step into a role very few expected her to hold. The stage was set, but the crowd had no idea. The woman they mocked wasn't there to sit in silence. She was about to take the highest seat in the room. As Maya sat quietly, the courtroom moved around her like a storm. Lawyers barked over motions, a defendant's family wept softly in the back, and officers strutted across the floor, as if they owned it. None of them knew who Maya really was, and that ignorance was about to become the most humiliating moment of their lives. One officer leaned toward another, smirking as he pointed to her seat. "Looks like somebody's lost," he muttered, loud enough for others to hear. Another chuckled. A lawyer glanced at her and assumed she was a minor witness, hardly worth notice. The murmurs grew, ripples of disrespect swirling through the room. But Maya didn't react. She had lived this scene before. Schools where teachers underestimated her, workplaces where colleagues doubted her intelligence, and interviews where she was told she wasn't the right fit. Each slight, each insult had built her armor. But even armor has weight, and she felt it pressing now. Finally, the bailiff approached, a tall white man in his 50s, his voice dismissive. "Ma'am, you can't sit here. This section is reserved for counsel and staff. Please move to the back." The courtroom chuckled softly, the sound like a chorus of ridicule. Maya's face remained steady, though her heart pounded, not from fear, but from the memory of every time someone tried to move her to the back. She glanced at the bailiff, her calm silence sharper than words. Still, he pressed. "Did you hear me? You need to move." His tone swelled with authority, and others smirked, enjoying the spectacle of a woman they believed had overstepped her place. And then, the side door opened. A clerk entered, holding a thick case file. His voice rang clear. "Judge Johnson, we're ready for you." The room froze. Heads turned, smirks vanished, and the bailiff's face drained of color. The woman he had tried to push aside, the one mocked and underestimated, was not an observer. She was the judge. Whispers died into stunned silence. Lawyers adjusted their ties nervously, officers straightened, and the bailiff's throat tightened. For the first time, Maya stood, not rushed, not flustered, but deliberate and graceful. Every step toward the bench was heavy with meaning, each movement a silent rebuke to those who had laughed at her. The tension was no longer about their ridicule. It was about what it revealed about them. And Maya, steady and composed, was about to show the power of dignity in the face of prejudice. The air thickened, every sound magnified by silence. Footsteps echoed as Maya walked toward the bench, her heels striking the floor with measured authority. The same officers who mocked her, now stood frozen, their faces burning with shame. The bailiff shifted uneasily, humiliated by his own arrogance. Maya reached the bench and paused. She didn't need to speak. Her presence was answer enough. She adjusted her robe, slipped it over her shoulders with the calm precision of someone who had carried heavier burdens, and finally took her seat at the head of the courtroom. "Court is now in session," she said firmly, her voice commanding. The gallery that mocked her now sat in silence. Officers avoided her gaze. Lawyers shuffled nervously. The bailiff lowered his head. Maya's eyes didn't linger on their shame. She looked out at the room with steady calm, carrying the weight of her journey. Through law school lectures where professors ignored her, through internships where she was dismissed, through every rejection meant to break her. Now she was here, the judge, the one who set the tone for justice. Her gaze fell briefly on the bailiff. Their eyes met, and in that unspoken moment the message was clear. Power built on prejudice crumbles in the face of truth. She didn't need to humiliate him. She didn't need to call out his cruelty. Her presence in that seat was the loudest statement of all. The climax was not in what she said, but in what she represented. A living reminder that dignity, persistence, and strength speak louder than hate. As the first case was called, Maya presided with calm authority. Every word carried weight. Every decision reminded the room that the woman they had dismissed now held the power to deliver justice. The laughter from minutes before was gone, replaced by quiet respect no one dared break. For Maya, it wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about embarrassing those who mocked her. It was about proving that no matter how many times the world tries to push you aside, dignity and perseverance can rewrite the story. She knew her journey wasn't hers alone. It was the story of countless black women and men who had been doubted, underestimated, and ridiculed, yet still rose above it all. The bailiff who had ordered her to the back now stood silently, shame written across his face. Officers avoided her eyes. Lawyers leaned forward, listening carefully to every word she spoke. The power had shifted, not because Maya demanded it, but because she had earned it long before they noticed. When court adjourned, Maya stepped down from the bench with the same quiet grace she had entered with. She didn't need applause or recognition. The silence that lingered was acknowledgement enough, but as we watch her story, the question remains: how many times will people judge others by their skin before they learn to see their worth? How many Mayas must endure whispers and laughter before the world finally listens? This wasn't just Maya's victory. It was a reminder that prejudice may try to laugh you out of the room, but truth will always have the last word.